Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Good afternoon everyone, we have a Tuesday live stream, which is rare. We haven't done a Tuesday. Do I hear myself? I hear myself, give me a second here. I need to make sure I don't hear myself because that's an important part of the live stream. I also need to get music on that live stream, which is a different story as well. Let's go ahead and just mute myself, move there. I just realized I was talking to myself, which the good news is it means the audio works. Okay. Hello everyone, how are you all doing today? This is Tuesday, shockingly enough. It is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are diving into our not-so-weekly live. Last week I was at PAX East, so I could not do the live stream, unfortunately. And this week, wait, what was I doing last week? The live stream was usually on Thursday, that's what it was. Okay, because if it was Wednesday, I could have done last week. But Thursday I was at PAX East, so I couldn't do the live stream. And this Thursday I'll be at the Gamers Ranch, so I can't do the live stream. So I decided to go ahead and do a Tuesday live stream just so that we can go ahead and have, well, you know, this connection, this sort of human connection between the screen and all that stuff. But basically, to go ahead and just dive into a bunch of things, first of all, Pariah, hello. Hans Go Projects, hello from Spain. Aaron Taylor, hello, hello. Brian, hello. Hello to everyone, basically, never mind. Good morning. Allison Burrell, it's noon. Good afternoon. Fixed it. You're an hour behind, right? So it's noon for you. That makes sense. Okay. Ryan, afternoon. And James, hello. So, this is the weekly live. We're going to go ahead and dive into whatever. I also will say my laptop does not have as much battery life as I thought it did, so if I have to switch to my phone at some point, well, my phone's just one grab away. But past that, what have you all been playing recently that's been fun? Because for me, I've been playing so little this month. This month might be, I have to go ahead and go through my stats, but this month might be the least games, the fewest games I've played in any month in a long time. Like, I don't know what the number is, but like if it's somewhere in the range of 60 to 70, that would make sense. A usual month for me is around 150. Just this month has had a lot of travel, a lot of Gamefound, a lot of just catching up on a variety of things, which has just put me behind. And I recognize, as usual, that 60 to 70 is, well, a lot depending on who you are, but this is my job. This is my job. I have to play a lot of games. The very nature, even just practically speaking, if you think about it just numbers-wise, if I put out, let's say, how many reviews? I put out like 5 reviews a week. That means in a month, I'm putting out 23-ish reviews, let's say 23 reviews. And let's say you play the average game, let's say you play the average one 3 times. That means I have to play like 66 games just to keep up. But the truth is, that's also why I'm falling behind on videos. Usually at any given point, I have between 60 to 70 videos in the queue. And right now, I only have like 45 in the queue because I've been slowly ticking down as I travel. Every time I travel, I'm basically not working and I'm relying on the fallback. I always do some videos. There's always some stuff. Like when I go to the Gamers Ranch shortly, I have like 2 or 3 videos planned, but 2 to 3 videos planned for being gone for 4 or 5 days. Whereas on average, I have to film 2 videos a day just to keep up. If I put up 14 videos a week, I have to film 2 videos a day just to keep up. It's a lot, but it's a job that I enjoy, so it's worth it. I just have to not panic when the numbers creep down to only having 30 videos in the queue. I need to get ahead of the game. I need to get ahead of the game. Camel Up from Balnor Games. I played Camel Up for the first time recently. I thought it was a fun game, but I wasn't overly impressed by it personally. Ryan, I have the new Tainted Grail tabled for a couple of weeks. Enjoy the new Tainted Grail. I saw that's already been delivering. But yeah, enjoy that one. I'm hoping to dive into Primal shortly. Primal, I just unboxed Primal. In fact, that video is going to be going up later today. But I finally got Primal The Awakening, and I am hoping to table that one as soon as I possibly can. I want to dive into it. It's been way too long. I think Primal and Agamony are the 2 current campaign games that have me the most interested for right now. Although I'm still in the middle of Teneris. I need to get back to Teneris. It's been so hard to get back into it. Like, it's a 3-hour game. My problem with Teneris, I love Teneris. I think it's an amazing game. But it's so much mental pressure to be, for me at least, just my schedule, to be able to sit down and sit down straight for 4 hours is a lot. And that's what the Teneris Adventure, like if you see the Teneris gameplays on the channel, they're usually 2.5 to 3 hours. That's because I'm cutting out the setup, I'm cutting out the between times. I'd say it's probably about 4 hours for me to sit down to commit to Teneris Adventures. I just need to do it. I need to do it over here. Yeah, we'll get into that. BoardGame Garden, that will change this week. Yes, Jenna, I'm hoping it will. I'm hoping it will change this week. That's the goal. But I mean, how many games could I possibly play while, the problem is, the Gamers Ranch, as much fun as it's going to be, there's going to be more socializing than we expect. I mean, I know we're here to play board games, but we're also going to socialize because it's people we like. And so that's going to be tricky, because I assume I'll play some games, but I don't think I'm going to catch up enough. Brian started playing Black Rose Rebirth solo. I haven't gotten my Black Rose Rebirth. I should be getting a copy of that. I don't have a copy of that yet. Interesting. I'll have to look into that. Pariah, Jenna's here. Brian, okay. Mage Knight, Morganite. I haven't been playing board games this month. Took a break and started to power through Horizon Forbidden West. Fun fact, I actually started playing Horizon Forbidden Dawn again. The original Forbidden Dawn. I've been going through it. It's Forbidden West and it's not Forbidden Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn. Is Zero Dawn? Is that what it is? Anyways, I've been playing through Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, that's what it is. That sounds right in my head. I've been playing through that. I never finished it the first time around, so I started diving into it again. I'll see how slowly I go through it. Primarily, most of my video game time is actually spent playing Minecraft with my kids. I've set up recently I set up a whole Minecraft server, and we've been playing Minecraft like every day for like an hour. We've been playing Minecraft together, building our own little world out cooperatively. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's good father-child time. Brian, BoardGame Gardens here. Hello, friends. I finished painting Nova, Aedes, Renaissance, and Mythwind. All 5 characters and the sprites. I'm playing Mythwind. Oh my gosh, I need to get back into Mythwind. I started diving into Mythwind. I was hoping to have review coverage up in time for the campaign. I won't. Now I'm hoping to have review coverage up before the campaign ends. I might be able to, but I actually was kind of enjoying Mythwind. I don't think it's going to be a game I finish, but I think it's a game I'm going to dive into all the characters, get a feel for their loops, and then figure it out from there. Painting and playing Primal. That's right. I'm excited for Primal. BoardGame Garden. Alex, I have one video in the queue. Jenna, the only way I get to do what I do and not stress out 24/7 is by having a ton of videos in the queue. A long time ago, when I started doing daily videos, I realized it was incredibly stressful to constantly be planning for tomorrow today. It was just constant stress on my plate. And when I started doing videos ahead of time, even though very often I am still trying to film a video for tomorrow, like very often, like what video did I do tomorrow? Nothing right now, but like, I don't know, earlier this week I filmed a video that was for the next day, and I do that on a regular basis. But just the knowledge that I have other videos I could proxy in takes the stress out. Either I get the video done or another video gets proxied in. It completely changes the equation of just my stress levels around what I do. And it's the same amount of work, in theory, as long as you stay ahead of the game. Rob Trotter, I've been playing Collab. How is Collab? I've been debating whether to dive into that one. I have that one. I've been debating whether to dive into it. I liked the prototype, but I wasn't like sold completely on the prototype. I thought that I loved the card laying tableau. I generally like that kind of puzzle, but I didn't love the resource gathering as much. And for me, I kind of need to love games nowadays to invest in them. Liking a game is not enough, and so I've been debating whether I pull a Collab or not. Aaron Taylor, I haven't got to my Primal shipping notification. Yeah, they've been going in waves, so a lot of people have been getting them, some not as much. Corey Christensen, I feel out of the loop. What's the latest hype? Is there hype right now? I mean, you can go on Board Game Geek and check out the hottest games and see what's there. I don't know if there's any current hype at the moment, but there's always hype coming around. Pariah, I've been playing tons of Coconut, less mental drain. Coconut is amazing. It's worth it every time. Petrified, Board Game Garden, and your one video is equal to 20 in his queue. Can someone let me know how to kick someone out of my Discord? I got things to do after. Rob Trotter and Palm Laboratory. James, Legacy you played through and you were kind of right about the feeling I had by the end of the campaign. Then I played Arkham LCG Dunwich. Yeah, James, I thought Legacy View was incredible, but it burned me out in it very quickly in the way it approached it. I think it would have been better as a one-shot or even like a 3-mission arc or something like that. The way they kind of had you fail and you lose and you fail, like back and forth. I love the game in some aspects, and it also let me down in others. Petrified, who's all going to be at the Gamers Ranch? Okay, so I'm going to rattle through the names of the people I know who are at the Gamers Ranch right now. So I believe they're going to be the following. There's myself, there's Meg, there's Jenna, there's Jeremy Howard, there's of the other people. Oh my gosh, what's his name from Man vs. Meeple? I always forget, not Jeremy, oh my gosh. David from Man vs. Meeple. We have Nelson from All Over Cards. We have some of the team, Melissa and someone else from Tantrum House. I think there's 2 people from Tantrum House. I believe it's Melissa and someone. I'm not sure who the other person is from Tantrum House offhand. There's going to be JT from, what's it called? From, oh my gosh. The Flip Side of Board Gaming from Sam Healy's channel. JT is going to be there. Who am I forgetting? Derek and Lizzie Funkhauser are going to be there. The people from the various companies, from Eagle Griffin, from Inside Up, and from Queen Games. Why do I feel like I'm getting someone? Oh, that's right. Thank you, Boarding Garden. Thank you, Jenna. Danny Standring's going to be there as well. That might be the person I'm forgetting. I think that might be the comprehensive list. Oh, no. What am I talking about? Kavre. Kavre's going to be there. Oh my gosh, Kavre's going to be there. I think that might be the comprehensive list. I think. Okay. Let's see. Zamajum, after not backing anything since September 23, I backed Requiem Downfall of Magic, and now the expansion from Mythwind. Enjoyed both of those. I enjoyed Requiem. I do think it's a little overpriced for what you're getting, but I enjoyed the game. And Mythwind, I haven't even looked at the campaign yet, so I don't know what the expansion is bringing to the table. But maybe it changes my mind, maybe not. We'll see. Ryan, Petrified, long time no see. How are you on the babies? Board Game Garden. LOL, Petrified, no. Jenna, it's okay. Your content is top notch. People appreciate it, myself included. Speaking of which, I'm in the middle of watching your Breakout Con vlog, and I stopped. I need to remember to go back and watch that because I enjoy watching your vlogs, and I wasn't even there. Usually, I'm actually at the places your vlogs happen, but I didn't go to Breakout Con, so I need to watch that vlog. James Sullivan, yes, I pre-ordered the Dead Keep. It's the Monitor Effect. Dead Keep is so much fun. I played it again last night. We'll have another gameplay going up. I hope to have a review going up at some point, but I don't know exactly when. But yeah, Dead Keep is a lot of fun. I have some complaints. I actually cooled on it a bit from Game 1 to Game 2. I have some complaints, things that I hope are changed, but I don't know how it's going to play out. But yeah, I definitely enjoy the Dead Keep. Petrified, Brian T, everything's doing great, still hectic, lots of fun. Jenna, I'm stressing out 24/7. Yeah, stressing out is, I mean, listen, these are, again, the way I often put it is, these are, at my old job, I used to be handed assignments that I had to get done. At my new job, aka what I do now, I get offered assignments and I say yes to them consistently, even though I could say no whenever I want. That's the difference between these situations over here. Yes, I pre-ordered the Dead Keep. Everyone's doing great, still hectic. I'm trying to sign Requiem. I mainly want the Gnar and Black Rose Wars content. Do I need the Dungeon Crawler? Brian, they do give you the ability to get just the Gnar and Black Rose Wars content, so you could just, just do that stuff. Collab is so good. I love it better than Terraforming Ark Nova and Earth. Rob, that is high praise. I wonder if they changed anything, because I know they were tweaking things. I know they took into account feedback. I wonder what the game's like. Maybe I'll pay attention to reviews and see from there. Because the tricky part about covering prototypes, the very tricky part, is on a regular basis. When I first started covering prototypes, I was like, oh yay, I'll give feedback, and people give feedback, and that feedback's going to be incorporated, and the final game will be different than the thing I covered. And over time, I got disillusioned. Because over time, the thing I covered, which could have had, which were very often what I covered would be a very good game, and they could and should tweak these 2 or 3 things. And then very often they wouldn't. They consistently wouldn't tweak small things. They'd be like, oh, you basically finished the game, which is fine, I guess, but I thought you were taking into feedback while you still could. And more often than not, there are exceptions. There are times where feedback was taken into account and the games were changed. More often than not, the content wouldn't change. And so the tricky part is when I cover a prototype that I didn't like, that's easy. When I covered a prototype I liked, that's easy. I love, that's easy. When I covered a prototype that I liked but had complaints about, it's very tricky for me because when I get it, do I dive into it again hoping it changed, or is it the same place it was before? Collab, if it's exactly the same game I covered, then Collab is a good game and I don't need to own it. I liked it, I enjoyed it, but I don't need to own it. But if they tweak things, it could be a great game. But it's always tricky to decide, whether I want to spend time diving into things again, seeing if they change things. Wojak, hi, I'm from Poland doing extra hours, so I have extra time to check in live. Hello, Wojak. Zombie, I actually wondered if maybe, not necessarily now, but at some point you could have shared some knowledge, ideas on why crowdfunding campaigns always seem to start on Tuesday, such a random day. I mean, the basic answer is that Monday is still the weekend effect. You're catching up from all the work in the weekend, so people are busy. And then Friday, you're already moving into the weekend. So really Tuesday, and even Thursday to an extent. So usually Tuesday and Wednesday are considered to be the best days, with Thursday being an okay day. And then Tuesday just became the first day after the weekend to look forward to things where you're not overly busy from the weekend work. That's kind of it's not just a crowdfunding thing. It's in general, things launched on Tuesday. At the end of the day, there is data to support that Tuesday campaigns do better. The tricky part that we don't know is it that Tuesday campaigns do better because Tuesday is better, or is it that people now look on Tuesday because of Tuesday campaigns and therefore they do better? But at Gamefound, there's data to show that Tuesday campaigns on average do better. It's on average, it's not across the board. Zombie Drum, I didn't back collab but got Pound Laboratory. Yep. BoardGame Garden, Danny, that's right. Egelon, have you seen Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition? Yes, I have it. I'm looking forward to diving into it. I'm looking forward to diving into a lot of things, and I need more time. Petrified, did you make a Gamma vlog? No, sadly I didn't. I was hoping to make a Gamma vlog, but I don't know. I don't know. I didn't gather enough footage this time. I actually do have some footage. I could theoretically do a talkback vlog. The tricky part of the Gamma vlog is I do find the Gamma vlogs have less interest because people don't go to them as much. I mean, it's more industry based. So I do have enough footage I probably could put together a vlog, and it's been on my list of things to consider, but not a priority right now. BoardGame Garden, the expansion looks amazing, bringing player interaction and villagers and being able to build relationships and possibly marry them. Possibly marry your villages! It's now even more Stardew Valley than before. Carlos, are there certain board games you prefer to play online with friends versus getting together with them, playing the physical version? What sort of factors go into making these determinations? So there's a few types of board games I prefer to play online. The first is the fact that a game is online and plays well means it likely will get more table time. I've played Castle of Burgundy 87 times in 2023, and I would say maybe 60, maybe 55 of those were online. Like 2/3 of them were online. I played it in person, but a lot of it was played online because the online implementation is great. I try to only play with real people who I actually know, so I don't escalate past my game group dynamics. But overall, yeah, I mean, anything that plays online is a good starting point. Things that minimize setup. Feast of Odin, love the game. I prefer to play it with the expansion, but if you play it online, you don't have to set it up, which is very, very, much easier in that sense. Anything that does math for you. There's a game I played. What was the game? There was a game I played. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Not Tortuga. It's like something. Paths of... I don't remember. It was a game that came out recently from Matago, I believe. And it was a tile-laying game that the scoring was so obnoxious. The game itself I enjoyed, but the scoring was very obnoxious. And I said, like in my review, I was like, I would play this online. 100% I'd play this online. But the scoring was so difficult to count that I had no interest in playing in person. So things like that definitely help. There's also things that will make me not play a game online. It usually comes down to how good the implementation is and then availability in general. I need to be just as excited as more Mython as I am. BoardGameCo, I'm so pumped. Hello from the UK. Hello, Mr. Wayham. Petrified. Final just got 7 Citadel, which was my most outstanding campaign. Yes, I have 7 Citadel. It's on the floor. I need to unbox it. I've been debating whether I unbox it. Like, isn't it just a bunch of cards? I've been debating whether I bother unboxing 7 Citadel. Rob Trotter, I like the balance and collab between building and collecting. JT, I'm very much looking forward to meeting you all at Adam. I've been watching your videos for many years. JT, fun fact, when I saw your name showing up at Adam, I was like, why are you at Adam? I only know you as a viewer. I see your name all the time. Like, I know your name, but like, I was like, why are you going to Adam? And then I was like, oh, you're part of the Flip Side of Board Gaming's channel, which I didn't realize. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to see you, JT. Wojo, which of AR games that you were announced are you interested in the most? Ooh, probably the Bloodborne adjacent one, the one that's more of like a Bloodborne style. I can't remember the name of it, but there was one that has to do more diving into sort of campaign, sort of single shot. The large epic sprawling narratives, as much as I'm interested in them, they're so much of a burden as much as they are an opportunity. And then Puerto Rico, I'm excited to try, but like I don't know yet. So probably the Bloodborne adjacent one. Petrified, looking back at Q1 2024, what's the game you're most excited for that you backed? I'd have to look. I don't know. I'd have to look. I don't back a ton nowadays. I mean, honestly, you know what? If we're in quarter one right now, because we are, let's go with the Dead Keep. The Dead Keep. I'm going to go with the Dead Keep, actually. That's almost certainly. I'd have to go through my full list, but almost certainly that's one of the most excited for. Like, I know I'll play that game. I'll play that game a lot. Board Game Garden, vlogging is hard. The main issue with vlogging is that my desire to have fun with my friends overrides my desire to capture footage of something and do it. Your vlogs are awesome. They're really, really solid. And so, and like noise is another thing. Like you do a lot of talk over stuff with your vlogs, which maybe I should consider doing because I often try to do talking to the camera, which is great unless you're in a noisy hall, which limits the ways I can do it. So I've really kind of put myself into my own little corner the way I do vlogging for conventions and trips, but I don't know. I should vlog the Gamers Ranch. I should do that. Your vlog will be out first. Your vlog will be better. Although maybe I can make my vlog go out first, and then yours will just be better, and you'll just get one of the two. But yeah, vlogging is hard. But I try to do it. People watch them enough, and I like them for my own memories. A big part, I've said this in the past, one of the reasons I vlog is even if they underperform my other videos, it's still nice for myself to have those memories in play, that I could look back and be like, that was this trip, and that was this trip, and you have this history you build for yourself. Like, it's so fun for me. I get to look back on my videos and watch my kids growing up. Like, that's what I get to see them. Like, Ricky will go back. Ricky will show her friends her first video on the channel when she reviewed Creature Comforts or whatever. Like, the first video, and she has this tiny little squeaky voice, and she likes doing that. And I like seeing that progression. It's like this own different way of interacting and growth. And you have that with your friendships that you develop and build. We also have that with, in my case, with my family on the channel. So I like the history for myself alone, and everything else is kind of extra. Diablo, Gamefound question, would it be possible to get an announced delivery date and an estimate delivery date on the project overview page to keep an eye on if a campaign keeps to schedule? It's an interesting one. I mean, technically that information is already there, right? So what are you asking for that's different? Meaning you already see the original campaign estimation, right? So you're asking for something different. I'm not sure what you're asking for exactly. Especially with Devin's antics on camera. Oh, Devin is fun. Sorry, my campaign overview page. David Darling, review of Divinity Original Sin board game or Agamonia coming soon? Agamonia, yes. Divinity, probably not. So Divinity, I like the board game. I enjoy the Divinity Original Sin board game, but I cannot play all the campaign games I have. I just can't. I can't possibly keep up. So I think Divinity Original Sin is not going to be finished. Versus Agamonia, I do plan on finishing it. I'm still at the point where I'm still discovering new things, so I'm not ready to review it yet. And so I need to play it more. But you can check out Board Game Ramblings. They seem to like it. They both gave it a 9 out of 10, which is pretty awesome. So more people who like that game. Agamonia is doing well. You know the thing? I may have missed it. Have you played Terrascape with a group yet? I love Mind Management and Sniper Elite and find Terrascape to be awesome. I have Terrascape. I have not played it. I would love to play it. Petrified. How is Purim? What did you all dress up as? Cowboys. We did Cowboys this year. It was fun. I enjoy Purim, but it was fun. 7th Citadel probably wouldn't be the most interesting boxing for content because it basically be just like 15 minutes of opening cards. Yeah, I think I'm not going to bother. I had it set aside in my unboxing pile. I have 6 Siege to unbox. We'll talk about that. But the problem with 7th Citadel is, like, I was thinking of it as, like, I'm pretty sure it's just cards. So I think I'm going to skip on that one and just be responsible. Ryan, I want Command to do something with Super Fantasy Brawl. I assume they will do. I assume they will be because they took over the IP, so I assume they have plans. Board Game Garden, Wojak. Will you give True Divine Legends another review after getting expansions probably in 5-10 years? No. I can't be bothered to dive into it again. I like True Divine Legends, but it was too grindy for what it is, and as much as there's like the appeal of covering more of it and playing more of it, I just have so many games that don't have an element of grind to it, so I don't need to dive into it. I'll play Espherian Guard instead. Petrified, I think your vlog should be videos of Jenna, and Jenna's vlog should be videos of you. That could be amusing. Or I could just stand behind Jenna every time she's vlogging. I could just get a capture of her vlogging and then put that up before her vlog, so all you see is Jenna's vlogging. My vlog is just Jenna's vlog, and then Jenna's vlog is Jenna's vlog. Kyle, is 6 Siege your game of the year? Probably not. When I played 6 Siege, I really liked it, but I also had some concerns with fiddliness. I don't yet know if 6 Siege is a keeper. I know that the good parts of the gameplay are amazing, but there were fiddliness aspects, and I don't know if those got cleaned up or not, because it is Mythic, and they do have a history of keeping the fiddliness in their games. So 6 Siege is a game I'm very excited for, and it also is a game that might not stick around. That's a possibility. I don't know how that will play out. Mr. Wayham, which would you suggest, Gloomhaven or Frosthaven? Oh, Jaws of the Line. But if choosing between Gloomhaven or Frosthaven, probably Gloomhaven. Hot take there. Probably Gloomhaven. So far, the extra things in Frosthaven for me, and I say so far, I've only given it like, I don't know, 15 plays. So far, the extra things in Frosthaven have not yet been enough for me to make me think it's worth the extra rules overhead. So far, Gloomhaven. James Sullivan, now that I finally received Ice of Vanguard, I'll be getting set up to play this week. It looks like there's just so much to do. We'll see. Welcome to all of our lives. Board Game Garden, those would be awful vlogs. Carlos, on the Board Games subreddit today, there's a thread complaining about the $1 VIP pre-campaign exclusives, over 100 comments titled, "Am I being a grumpy old man, or is this a legitimate complaint?" What's the overall take? Because I am very against the $1 VIP pledges. I'm very, very against it. The tricky part for me, here's the tricky part to be mindful of on my end, which is why I've done my 2 videos, and now I'll talk about it when it comes up. I'm not going to shy away from a conversation. Is something that is, okay. There are a lot of creators who are a fan of the $1 VIP pledge. Obviously so, because it promises them the temptation of more funding. So any tool that promises a creator more funding is going to be tempting to creators. Now, many creators will not do things that are inherently unethical. Many creators will not. The problem is, what if you have a technique that is more complicated as to whether it's ethically okay or not? And I do think the $1 VIP is more complicated, because I think all forms of marketing have some degree of FOMO attached. So when is the FOMO okay and when is it unethical? It's a complicated thing to get into. But without overly getting into it right now, the problem is, there are creators who have said, hey, it's not that people don't like the $1 VIP thing, it's that there's all these YouTubers who are upset about it, which I disagree immensely. But I have to be mindful of leading the charge versus it being a part of the charge. I don't mind being a part of the conversation, but I don't want to lead the conversation. If people are upset, let them be upset, and I'll continue to be a voice about it. If people are not upset, then people are not upset, and it is what it is. And maybe I just got really upset about one particular tactic. Well, 2, I hate it. I will die on the hill of those VIP fake limited pledges where it's like, oh, there's 17 left, there's 24 left, and all that stuff. One thing that's actually interesting that Launchboom hasn't really addressed is Launchboom as a company, I think that a lot of people walked into the $1 pledge straight off the back of the limited funding pledges, which means even if you can argue the $1 pledge is totally ethically sound, the thing that the technique that was being done right before that was clearly lying again and again and again and again. It was a false sense of limited scarcity, but with a lie attached. There's the implication of limited scarcity, and then there's lying about limited scarcity, and I think one is worse than the other. And so I think that definitely didn't help the whole message. But yeah, I think the dollar thing, there's a lot of people who don't care, and I don't mind if you don't care. For me, I personally care, and I'm going to try to avoid campaigns that do it. Not a guarantee, but I will certainly try to avoid campaigns that do it. But it's hard to figure out which techniques in crowdfunding are okay and which ones aren't. Because a lot of it comes down to what people ultimately are okay with. And I just don't want to lead that conversation. Ryan, if I start one, Deliverance, Tamashii, Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin, Icefair Guard, I have all 4 and we'll start one solo soon. I'd say Deliverance or Tamashii. Those are going to be a little easier to get through first. And Deliverance also has one shot. I mean, one shot is the default mode, so to speak. So Deliverance and Tamashii are going to be easier to get into, I'd say. And then from there, I personally prefer Icefair Guard, but then Tainted Grail. But it depends if you prefer more mechanics or more story. Although Icefair Guard is a great story too. Zama Jum, I think Diablo's suggestion would make it so that without going into comments and updates, you can immediately see the estimated currently expected delivery date on the main campaign page. Is it not there in the pledges? Don't the pledges individually say expected delivery date X, Y, and Z? am I not up to date on what Gamefound does, which is possible, by the way. Gamefound changes a lot on a regular basis, that I frequently am behind on what the newest interface is. I like the idea for more clarity. I'm all for more clarity. It just depends on how it's what the question is, so to speak. Petrified, do you think Roth has the capability to compete with some of your top tier arena area control skirmish games? No, I don't. I enjoy Roth, but I think Roth is, like, when I think of games like Inish or Cyclades or Kemet or Blood Rage or DEI, Roth is good. I like it, and one of the appeals of it is you can knock it out in like 45 minutes. You can get a game of Roth in 45 minutes, so it's fast paced, it's punchy, but I do not think it's more in the vein of Runation than the other games. And Runation as well, one of the merits of Runation is that you can knock out a game in an hour. That's one of the merits. So it's actually competing with Runation, but those aren't my top tier games. They're the games that have a spot because of how easy they are to table. Let's see. Petrified, do you think Roth? No. Wojak, do you think Odalin by Dragora Games will be much different than Tenaris Adventures? If not, will you start playing it knowing that you've finished Tenaris almost 2 times? I assume I'll play Odalin. I'd be very shocked if I didn't play Odalin. I think I would. Diablo, what I meant was on my project page, all my projects are on a list to show a line. Oh, interesting. That could be useful. I'll take a note. Brian, interesting take from One Stop Co-op Shop this week. They found out a game they covered had AI art and is telling publishers they won't cover games with AI. Feels like trying to hold back the inevitable. Oh, Brian. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for instance, Chris George, I found out recently, will not cover games that have the dollar pledge on his channel. Okay, he won't cover those games. This is actually an interesting conversation. This will take a few minutes to go through. So Chris George won't cover games that have the dollar limited pledge, and now One Stop Co-op Shop won't cover games that have AI. And I respect those viewpoints while having not taken those on myself, for a variety of reasons. When it comes to AI, I don't feel as strongly about it. I think I'm all for laws that limit AI in some way, shape, or form, because I do think AI should be taken seriously, but I don't have as much of an ethical problem with it. And I know, I'm fully aware that I'm like charging on to this whole dollar pledge, but I don't care as much about AI. And I can get into why, but ultimately, everyone, myself included, will find the things that align with how they view things. The dollar pledges do bother me. The AI, I think, is more complicated, and I don't think it's inherently theft, which is, again, not going to go into it fully now, but I don't view it as inherently theft. But I understand any creator any YouTuber, content creator, whatever it is, who doesn't want to cover games that do something they disagree with. But I will cover those games, at least for right now. It's something that I'm open to keeping an open mind on, but I will cover those games because the first baseline is that I don't think I can say that I'm covering crowdfunding games and then not cover certain categories of games as an ethical objection. What I certainly can do is I certainly can cover those games and then call out the company each time. Like, I have no problem being like, oh, hey, we're covering this game. By the way, they're lying to you about those limited pledges. I've done that very aggressively. I've tried to do so with grace to the creator. Like, hey, don't hate on them. They're trying to, like, just survive in a crowded space. But obviously, this is a tactic I don't agree with. The issue is that, to my viewers, I owe the coverage of. I can't say I'm covering crowdfunding games and then morally object to covering certain ones without it compromising the coverage I'm giving you. So I do view it as something that I'm still going to cover those games, but I will try to highlight. When something uses AI, I try to call it out because you might care. When something uses the dollar pledge or lies to you about how many pledge levels there are, I certainly call that out because I think, again, personally, I care and I think you should know in general. So I will choose to call things out, but I'm still going to cover them. But again, I respect both One Stop Co-op Shop and Chris George for not doing so. It's just a choice I'm making. That's around comprehensive, to-back or not to-back coverage. When it comes to individual games, that's trickier. Because, for example, the dollar pledge. I'm against the dollar pledge. But I've done paid content and unpaid content around games that utilize the dollar pledge. And dedicated coverage is more interesting. Because my two-back, not-to-back is meant to be a roundup. If I don't cover a game in that roundup, it's a little more bothersome. Versus there's so many games I don't cover anyway. It doesn't make a difference if I self-select one more version of why I won't cover a game. When it comes to individual coverage, I've been more open to the idea that I might choose not to cover games that do certain things. For right now, I haven't made that decision. It's also complicated as well when you get into paid coverage, because it's one thing for me to not review a game that does one of those things is actually, I think I'm more okay with that because I have something against to review anyway. I always have a backlog. For me not to do paid coverage is tricky because, frankly, I have an employee. Meg gets most of the preview money when she does the previews, so me turning down a game because of my own objection is trickier because I'm turning down her paycheck. So that's a tricky situation. She gets paid based on the content she does. She doesn't get a fixed paycheck. So that is also a tricky situation as well, because then I'm putting my moral objection in place of my employee's pay, which is trickier. So it's complicated. It's definitely complicated stuff. I respect anyone who does whatever they want to do. I understand all sides. I do think it's complicated to mess around with. I haven't made any firm answers or decisions, but that's where I'm currently. Petrified. Diablo, while a good ability to get a feature, I don't see how the company would keep that update both by user, by region. Most of the time it's not a specific month, but range. Yeah, Petrified, all fair points. Jay Bringus, can you have the questions on screen while you're answering like how Tom Vassal does it? Not without adding some software layer on top of it, so it is theoretically doable. I'd have to look into it at some point and see whether it's doable with my current setup. Diablo, it's as long as it's somewhere close to be better than now. The upkeep of it is a lot of the issues, but yeah, I'm still going to take notes on it. We'll figure it out. Zombie campaigns will show only the original expected delivery date. You have to look in updates or comments to find if it has changed. Got it. Okay, fine. Got that. Mr. Wham just ordered Jaws of the Lion. Thanks. Enjoy. There's also, by the way, there's Gloomhaven buttons and bugs now, which I just got but have not yet played. Petrified. Completely agree. Not saying it's not something worth trying to come up with a solution, just how to convince companies to keep updated. Some companies would, some companies would not. Yeah. Let you know how I get on with it. Diablo, Petrified, probably true. There's a whole conversation around this. Petrified, by the way, recommendations for Chris's 2023 Oscars video is so appreciated. One of the funniest pieces of board game content I've seen in a while. Yeah, Chris George is a treasure. He's an absolute treat, a gem of a human being, and he's talented beyond measure. Yeah, so his Oscars video is top-notch. Highly recommend watching that in general. Honestly, Paula Deming used to do a lot of board game comedy on Things Get Dicey. She does much less than she used to now that she's much more part of Watch It Played, but her content as well in general. Her humorous content is top-notch. She is, again, a treat to the industry, just a genuine treat, a great human being, and just very, very, very funny, very funny. People who are funny, like I think I can be funny with like the occasional one-off line, but there's funny and then there's having a funny line. I think I can have funny lines. There are people who are really funny, and that's like such an interesting talent to be funny. It's so fascinating. Like Grant Lyon, obviously, like his comedy is top-notch, but yeah. Well, Jack, would you cover board games that have nudity erotic parts, but thematically would be logical and game would be normal to know? Well, okay, I'm not fully following the question. Would you cover board games that have nudity or erotic parts, but thematically would be logical and game would be normal, no party games for couples? Okay, so way too long of a question that I'm not fully following, but here's where it gets interesting. There is a game coming out. I can't remember the name of it. There's a game coming out that covers strippers. The theme is strippers. I can't remember what the name is, but it's a game that's coming out. It's the gameplay itself is supposed to be more strategic. So while the theme is, you know, adult dancers and whatnot, Night Shift. Thank you. That's right, Night Shift. So Night Shift is coming out. They reached out to me to review the game, and I thought about it. I thought about it for a long time, and I went back and forth, and ultimately I decided not to. The first thing is I'm not going to bother covering a game that isn't up to the right gamer level or whatnot. Meaning, effectively, if it's a game about, you know, erotic adult stuff and it's more of a party game or something I wouldn't cover anyway, then absolutely not. I have no interest in that type of game. So the mechanics have to drive the game. But the mechanics in Night Shift are a little bit higher. It looks like a lighter game. It does not look like a heavy game, but it looks a little more gamified to the point that if you remove the theme, I probably would cover that game. And so I had to think about that as far as, because the tricky part is there's certainly an inconsistency in any space for that matter, about the nature of what types of content are okay or not okay. So you have things like hate, okay? So hate, where you're literally eating the bodies of your enemies, and it's gore and blood and violence, and, you know, you're tearing them apart and all that stuff. That's like totally fine. BoardGameCo covers hate. But BoardGameCo doesn't cover Night Shift. Like there's some degree, and there's not even nudity. It's just more erotically charged. Okay, so I'm not going to cover a game that has, you know, some degree of the female body uncovered. But hey, if you're eating each other, that's totally fine. And that's been it's been a very Western culture thing in general, that violence is not viewed the same way as erotic content. Okay, that is what it is. It is viewed differently. The degree of violence versus the degree of erotic content is viewed differently. Ultimately, for me, the reason I decided no, because I went back and forth and I was really debating, and I wrote them a whole nice email trying to explain my thought process, but ultimately the thing that gets it for me is that I think that if somebody is watching my channel, because I have a decent amount of family content on the channel. I cover lighter games, I cover family games, I have my kids in the videos, so I have a lot of that going on, which means if somebody shows up my channel and sees a game hate, where there's lots of violence and eating each other's bodies, I don't think, and again, it's culturally, it is what it is. I don't think it's logical, but it is still the cultural reality. I don't think people would be charged and being like, how could you possibly have hate on a channel that's very family friendly? Versus I do think that people would have that reaction to a game like Night Shift, to a game that's more erotically charged. I think there would be that frustration of like, how could you have this thing on a family-oriented channel? And so ultimately, the decision not to cover it was more about the fact that whether consistent or not, the reality of Western sensibilities still dictates what is and isn't done. And I think what is and isn't done is a realistic aspect of how life operates. So I didn't want to like For me, the main issue is, like, I don't mind covering Night Shift. I don't mind having an adult theme in a game. I usually don't get a lot out of it personally, but I've covered World War II games, and I don't get a lot out of that theme either. So it was an interesting conversation, an interesting thought process to go down, and ultimately it comes down to what the cultural sensitivities are, whether or not that's fair. Petrified, have you met Paula before Level Up? Yes, I want to say I met Paula at PAX Unplugged 2 years ago for the first time, I believe. I've met her a few times at WSBG, PAX Unplugged, Gen Con perhaps, but PAX Unplugged like 2 years ago, not last year. I think it was the first time I met her, perhaps. Or maybe it was WSBG. I don't remember. I've met her a few times. Wojak, Night Shift, that's right. You know the thing, I'm gaming tonight with non-gamers that want to check out the hobby. Foundations of Rome or Plan Unknown? Plan Unknown. Plan Unknown. I think Plan Unknown is a little more friendly. Foundations of Rome, a lot of the charm in Foundations of Rome is how cutthroat it can be. It's a lot of fun to play a cutthroat. Versus Foundations of Rome is, you can get the strategy out of the game without being nearly as cutthroat. Drum, I do like it when creators share the timeline stats at the start of every update, whether they're changed or not, like you see Far Off Games doing for Iridia. I think it's great. I think the more visibility creators give their audience, the better it'll be for their projects. I think communication is one of the best things you can do, but it's also very hard. It's very hard. Like, people don't really realize how hard it is. It's very hard to pop in an update to a bunch of people and say, hey, we're not going to have the game at this point. Another delay is present. It's frustrating. Like, I'm not trying to give creators a get-out-of-jail-free card for anything, but what I will say is people do not give creators enough credit for what it's like to have to dive back into an angry mob of people every single time. And you're like, I'm not an angry mob. You're right, you're not. But if you have 5,000 people who backed your project, I guarantee you some of them are coming with pitchforks every time there's a delay. And so you're setting yourself up for, like, okay, I got to post this thing and people are going to be upset. It is a lot for creators. It's emotionally draining. And you're like, well, if you can't do it, don't get into it. You're right. But not everyone knows what they're getting themselves into. Not everyone realizes what they're signing up for when they do it. And just because there's an acknowledgement of what you're signing up for doesn't mean the behavior is acceptable either. Like, I get a frequent thing, like as a content creator, someone who's on the internet, and as somebody who will have people go on Reddit or Facebook or wherever and talk about me, like, there'll always be that one person who's like, if you can't handle being in the spotlight, you shouldn't be this. And I'm like, sure, you're still a dick. You're still a complete jerk of a human being for being the way you are and treating someone on the internet as if they're something you can just treat like a less than human. Now, it is absolutely true that apologize for the language, but this is like a topic that gets me. But I think it's absolutely true that you shouldn't be a content creator if you can't take being talked about on the internet. You shouldn't be doing Kickstarters if you can't take the backers who are upset. Those things are both true, but it doesn't mean that the people who are reacting poorly are fine. They're still a-holes. It just happens to be that in life, you unfortunately have to account for the fact that a-holes exist. It doesn't give the a-hole permission to be an a-hole. It doesn't make them a better person for being an a-hole. It just means that life is life and hard decisions have to be made. Okay. Foundation of Rome, Plan Unknown. Devin, when did you decide to sculpt your beard in such a sexy way? I was thinking of you, Devin. Petrified, Devin, let's keep it safe for work. Hello, Petrified, hope you're doing well. Then Alex goes and drops the D word. Yeah, I cannot get over. To me, it baffles my mind. The idea that there are people out there who literally think that you can be a terrible human being because they should have known. And you have this with, like, paparazzi, too. Like, well, if you couldn't handle the paparazzi, you shouldn't have been famous. And you're like, that's true. If you're going to be famous, you have to be able to deal with the press and the paparazzi and all those things. That comes with the job. It doesn't mean that it's okay. It just means that people suck. That's what it means. So yeah, it is what it is. Devin, how are you doing? How are you doing, Devin? You know what I have? I have Six Siege. Does it come with a hoodie? Is that what's in that thing? Because I haven't even looked at it fully, but, like, I'm looking forward to diving into that unboxing, which I'll have to film after the Gamers Ranch, because no way on earth I can get it filmed today. There's so much stuff to film. It's mind-boggling. Again, I'm only here for 3 days this week because of the Gamers Ranch. So I have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Because, like, Saturday I can't film. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday I'm here. And then I'm off for the Gamers Ranch, which means I have to film my 14 videos for the week in 3 days. That's a lot of videos every day. I love it. I love it. Are there best practices with respect to selling games you're no longer interested in holding on to? For example, is BG Marketplace preferred over eBay or other sales sites? Local over shipping? I generally like using Facebook. Facebook's Board Game Revolution buy and sell group is usually my first go-to. It's a little easier to go ahead and get things done and all that. But I think BG Marketplace is still relevant. eBay is still relevant. Local over shipping is hard, but if you can do it, by all means. I've been meaning to put out another video. I had someone ask me to do another video on how to sell a game. I've done it in the past, but I might do an updated one, at some point soon. Sydney, Alex, congrats on 6 Siege. Thank Devin. Devin is the one who got it for me. Which Devin, I hope I'm allowed to say that. I hope I'm allowed to say that, Devin, because if not, it's too late. Woohoo! Glad you got the game. It's a playmat, a huge playmat. Oh darn! I was hoping it was a hoodie, because that playmat, it is huge. Devin, how long do you have to work at Lucky Duck before you convince him to send me free games? Petrify, Devin can send you free games whenever he wants. It's in his job description, free games for all his friends. If he hasn't sent you free games yet, that's probably a you thing, nothing to do with his job title. Sydney, for games you don't want to sell, consider donating to your public library or correctional institution. Captive audiences will appreciate your generosity. Is the captive audience the public library or the correctional institution? Cindy Johnson, I mean the ones you want to purge and not sell. Zombadom, totally agree with you, Alex. I can get so embarrassed reading some of the horrible comments on crowdfunding pages. Yeah, death threats are a big deal. Death threats are a real thing in the crowdfunding space. I know so many creators who have gotten death threats over delayed board games, and you're like, wow, sucky people do exist. Pariah, BoardGameCo, bug Austin for the Veil Fate hoodie. Oh, Pariah, please, I absolutely will. Petrify, yes, forgot Devin was one of those jerks on the internet. No, Devin's a delightful human being. Devin, fun fact, the reason I'm such good friends with Devin is after a few interactions that I had with him online, I had a few, I played a few games with him online, basically. I played Burn Cycle and Into Deep and Feed the Kraken. Not in that order. The order was Into Deep, Feed the Kraken, then Burn Cycle. Played all those with Devin online, and then I saw a beautiful post on a Facebook group where he was trying to be the level-headed voice of reason about a current internet drama that was going on. And everyone, of course, jumped on him because you're not allowed to actually be the level-headed voice of reason. Both sides are upset at you at that point. But I read the post and I was like, I want to be friends with this human being. Like, this person is just someone I want to be friends with. Everyone else was, there were people who did appreciate the post. I should be honest. In general, when you are trying to be level-headed or middle ground in the internet, you will actually have a lot of people who do support you. You will. But you will also have people from both sides of the drama attacking you for not being enough on their side. You can't be middle of the road. I try to be middle of the road in so much of my content, and that's because I try to approach it from seeing both sides. I think so much of life's problems are people don't see things from the other side. People see things from their side. Like the way I often try to put it, and again, controversial stuff, whatever, but the way I often try to put it is I usually use abortion as a good example of abortion as a topic where one side is calling the other side, child killers or baby killers, whatever it is, and the other one's trying to oppress women. So you're trying to oppress women and you're trying to kill babies. That's what the sides are. But in reality, for most people, it's you're trying to protect women and you're trying to protect babies. The motivations just totally change. Now, there's still complexities. There's still things in play. You still have to approach them. But instead of trying to attack people for the negative intent, why don't we acknowledge the positive intents that are at play? And so I often think I often go middle ground on most conversations because I think, like even with the whole creator thing with the $1 pledge, I do appreciate seeing it from the creator side. And I do see it from the creator side. It doesn't mean that I align with the creator. It just means I understand why a creator would do the $1 newsletter. And I don't think it's malicious or an intent is negative or nefarious. I still don't like it. And there's reasons why I go into it. But you really have to try to see things from the other side as much as possible. Honestly, a thing that I find more frustrating than the $1 pledge is the $1 newsletter thing, is how many creators don't see it from the backer side. That I find fascinating. I find a lot of creators are very frustrated with backers and don't understand why there's pushback, and that I find more frustrating than the tactic itself, because it's not looking at it from the side of the backers. It's just looking at, like, so many of them are like, well, I bet they never try running a crowdfunding campaign in their life. You're like, yeah, they haven't. Doesn't mean they're wrong. They still feel taken advantage of. Do you acknowledge and understand why? Do you acknowledge and understand the craziness of asking someone to prepay for the prepayment of the thing that goes down the road? So I understand. Yeah, either way. Reese McCarthy, no threats. Devin, that post backfired, yeah. Pariah, everyone loves Devin. Everywhere. Nowadays, yes, but once upon a time, that was not always true. Brian, I must say I enjoyed Alex's interview skills in the Gamefest videos. One question. So tell me everything about the game. Anything we need to know, just tell us anything. I hate you. Petrified, has there ever been a human as charming as Devin? No one I ever met has just drawn people in as much as he does. Devin talks tabletop, you're all too sweet. Yeah, Devin's great. I mean, like, honestly, one of my favorite things with Devin is every time he does those 16-hour live streams, I'm so captivated the entire time. Like, I'm just pulled in. His charm, his personality, the way he talks, the way he approaches the games, the way he'll just set up games and table them and start learning games together with the audience. Like, it's amazing how, like, those 16-hour live streams, they fly by so fast, it's almost like they never happened. How has the board game community adapted to you going offline on Shabbos? Or do you do all the adapting? Is it difficult to balance your religious obligation with the career this unique? Yeah. Oh, first of all, what's your username? I don't see a username. So first of all, the board game community in general has been incredibly friendly to the fact that I am very openly religious. When I first started doing this, my biggest question was, do I wear my yarmulke or do I cover it? Lots of people will take off their yarmulke if they're religious Jews, and so I decided not to, and it's never really been an issue. It's been incredibly accommodating. The biggest issue is conventions. The biggest issue is managing conventions and all that in general. It's like most things are totally fine to being offline. I do most of the adapting. At the end of the day, going to conventions, I've had religious Jews ask me, how do you go to conventions? And the first answer I'll give is it's certainly not in the spirit of Shabbos. But I can go to a convention and follow all the necessary regulations whilst not being in the spirit of what you should be doing in Shabbos. So it is a tough line to balance, and I just do the best I can, and it is what it is. It is very unique, though. Sydney Johnson, Gamefound use of the term pre-order, discuss versus Kickstarter. You're backing a project, not purchasing a product. What part am I discussing? I'm not entirely sure what part I'm discussing. I mean, pre-order versus Kickstarter is a whole conversation. I got into that on my to back and not to back yesterday at the beginning of the Dead Keep segment, but I'm not sure exactly what. Successful Geek, I'm late, can you start over? No successful, but go back 4 minutes. You'll appreciate that. Devin Talks Tabletop, haha, Steve, LOL. Go satisfy yourself, Alex. Robbie, Salty Alex is great. Best pause for effect ever. Thank you. I appreciate you all. I enjoy that. Just the dead silence for 7 seconds. Something about that on the internet. I was focusing on Dead Keep and commands pre-order and above questions. So Sydney, I'm not entirely sure what the question is. You're backing a project, not purchasing. I'm not entirely sure what the question is, but I'm happy to answer it as soon as you have it. You're always trying to be in the middle ground. Can you run for president? No, Japing, it's not at all. I'm Canadian, so I can't run for president. Also, I wouldn't want that job in a million years. One of the scariest things ever is looking at Obama pre and post his presidency and the level of his gray hair. It is shocking. Successful, I'm late, can you start over? Member for 14 months, successful, thank you so much for being a member for 14 months. It's always a delight to see you, and I'm sorry I haven't seen you in a while. When do I get to see you next? When do I get to see you next? Which convention are you going? Oh, Level Up. I should give a Level Up update. There is no Level Up September as of right now. Level Up Retreat, we are potentially trying to do 2 a year, and we are potentially looking at doing a February and September this year. This year, we are skipping entirely the September one, and we're going to be back next year, February. So if you're interested in Level Up Retreat, we will be back, but as of right now, we're still trying to figure out whether we want to do 2 a year or 1 a year, and I think right now we're going to do 1 a year until we get more things streamlined. We kind of need a break to be able to spend more time focusing on things for the better, and so we are not doing a September Level Up Retreat. We will be doing one again in February, and we'll go from there. Let's see. So I'll try to answer Cindy's question. Gamefound use of the term pre-order, discuss versus Kickstarter, you're backing a project. I don't know. I need clarification, Sydney. I'm sorry, I need clarification. Devin Talks Tabletop. Okay, Petrified, is it going to be in Jersey again? As of now, I think we're trying for the same location. I think. And there are problems at that location. We're trying to see if we can make the problems better, but we are tentatively trying for the same location this year with the hopes to grow into another one next year. Devin Talks Tabletop, gotta go, but love you all. So join up here in chat as well, sending love to the Board Game Garden as well. Devin, lovely to see you as always. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you later. This chat's gonna be wrapping up soon anyway. I'm gonna be going for the hard cut at 2 because I have so much to do before I leave. Brian, Alex play Vindication expansion this week, and Jenna call Catan. Ooh, I want to play Vindication so much. Successful, come to Big Game Bash Live. We do them every 3 months. It's becoming Dice Tower's favorite convention to come to because it's only $10 to attend. There's no schedule, just 2 days of gaming. I'm tempted. I've seen the posts. I know Joey is there, but yeah, I need to. I don't know. We'll see. Board Game Garden. Thank you, Devin. Lovely, Devin. I don't know about Jersey. They're kind of missing a bridge right now. That's true. We'll see how that goes. Board Game Garden. Should I bring Vindication? Do you want to? Do you have the small box or the giant box? Because the giant box is a lot. But if you bring Vindication, do you have expansions? Because the whole point, Brian wants me to play expansions, so I could try to bring and learn and play expansions. I have Chronicles, I have all the stuff. I don't know. Every time I play Vindication, I'm just gonna play the stuff I know. But maybe I'm open to it. Sorry, my name is Alicia. I've never posted in live chat. Oh, Alicia, you're fine. The thing that was confusing is you don't have a username next to your name. So that's all. You don't need to actually give your name in general. I was more sorry about that. Sorry if I gave any pressure there. You're totally fine. I was just confused by the lack of a visible username. I didn't on any way want to push you for private information in any way, shape, or form. Alex uses coding skills to make Vindication on BGA. No. Jeff K. Hey folks. Hello Jeff. Brian T. Welcome Alicia. Welcome aboard. Also, Jenna, we are not going to play everything. Small box, isn't there expansions within the base box? There's modules within the base box. If you bring Vindication, I will play modules, okay? I will make it my commitment to learn whatever modules there are and play the modules. Or I could bring my Vindication, which is possible too. I am open to that. I do love that game, dear Lord. I need to sleeve my cards. I haven't sleeved my big box cards. I have a homework assignment. Okay. Oh no, I did sleeve. Actually, I sleeved while I was playing the last time. The last time I was playing, I sleeved while I was going. Now I remember. So something was sleeved. Heavy Board Gamer, any plans to cover a new Cyberpunk game? Like new Cyberpunk game from Go On Board? I assume that I will be covering the new Cyberpunk game from Go On Board. They've given me the last few games to cover. They gave me The Witcher. They gave me The Witcher again. So I assume they'll be giving me Cyberpunk to cover. Fun fact, Devin, who left the chat, already played it. Cindy Johnson, if you buy from retail, certain consumer protection laws and regulations apply, but generally crowdfunding does not qualify for the retail protections. Doesn't pre-order imply retail arm versus funding? Oh, Sydney, so a few things there. Okay, so in general, crowdfunding has more protections than people think. Despite the Kickstarter's attempts to call, and possibly Gamefound as well, I don't actually know what language Gamefound utilizes, but let's say both, because I don't want to be whatever. Despite Gamefound and Kickstarters and BackKit's potential use of trying to sell you that you're not buying a product, there are still consumer laws in effect that will protect you to some extent. The problem is you usually have to go into some sort of class or order something and then go after companies that don't have any money or opportunity to give you stuff. But those protections in theory do exist to some extent. But a pre-order should definitely have more protections as well. But again, it's more of a question of, even if the protections exist, to some extent, good luck going after them. And in the case of Come I think you're pretty safe for things. It's not a guarantee, but I think you're pretty safe getting things from Simon. People consistently cry, the roof is falling, the sky is falling, but it hasn't yet in their publicly traded company with their information completely out there. Successful. I really want to play the villages. No, where were you? Where I lost something. Okay. Need an official TTS mod. Pet Pariah, Board Garden, do you need to borrow my Vindication big box? Petrified, need to table Vindication. Got the big box because you praised so much, but Game Group won't play. Oh, I love the game. I'm sorry. It's such a good game. Successful Geek, I really want to play the Village expansion. I want the big box so bad. Jenna, I'll see. Have I connected you with Oneb yet? Remind me to connect you with Oneb, because we'll see. Like I think Spiritfire. I think Meg and I told them about you for Spiritfire, because I think you'd be a good fit for that. Successful in Vindication. Sydney Johnson didn't like the use of the term pre-order when Kickstarter terms of service all over the idea that funding is not a purchase. I mean, yeah, Kickstarter's terms of service say that, but there's only so much you can really do. Like, at the end of the day, you're spending money and you're being promised a product. You can say what you want. If I sell you a product and I tell you it's not a purchase, it's still a purchase. There's only so much you can actually do. There's only so much you can do to legally change what is the reality of life. And that's why people have been able to go after crowdfunding to some extent, and more so internationally than the US. The US is usually a little behind. Like, Gamefound actually has more general consumer protection stuff set up as far as the legality of crowdfunding, because they're a EU company. Like, they're more in, like, one thing we don't talk about a lot, because at the end of the day, if it's an issue, it'll happen. If it's not, it's not. But Kickstarter is not actually following the terms of service for international stuff. In terms of the way they handle VAT, they're strictly speaking a marketplace. They're supposed to collect and process VAT. But until someone sits down and does something about it, it doesn't really matter. For a long time, they weren't even charging VAT. And then eventually people start to crack down. But as far as going after companies for not getting you product, that is a thing. Like, EU has it more, but it will be coming to the US more and more. At the end of the day, it's still a sale. Successful Geek, the Board Game Garden, the big box isn't compatible with Catan owners. I love Radlands, but nobody in my family does. What's another great 1v1 game with a good theme? The good theme, I don't know. Like, I think, what's the Wizard one? Wizard's Grimoire is great, but I don't know if I care for the theme. It's just a great game. Board Game Garden, Adam. I love seeing all the Vindication love in chat. Make it happen, Alex. I love Vindication. I just need to play it more. Board Game Garden, Ryan, I will steal your big box. Again, Jenna, I do have the big box here. I could bring it if we're committed to it. It just is a big box. Jenny Johnson, Alex, thank you for the sense. Thank you, got the sense of my question now. Yeah, the main thing, I wasn't sure if you were questioning what the difference is between a pre-order and a Kickstarter, what the difference between a pre-order is and a Gamefound campaign, or whether you're talking more about the consumer protections. Because the pre-order versus crowdfunding campaign, that's its own separate conversation, versus you were focusing more on the consumer protection aspect. Jacob Justice, Watergate. Yeah, absolutely. Petrified, you're right. Watergate is great. It is good, Jeff, your Veiled Fate partner. Alex, as an example for the delivery date question, I just looked at the Aberration Project. No, it doesn't give a delivery date on the project page, just food for thought. I'll try to take a look. I will look into it, no guarantees, but generally Gamefound is always trying to improve based on three things. Based on what the customers say they want, based on, and yes, an app will be coming, based on what the companies say they want, and based on what we think is good for Gamefound, the customers, the companies, the industry, and all that. But we are always open to feedback. That's how you grow. We want to constantly, we want to grow. Prior, Board Game Garden, anytime you want, as long as I get it back, since I have everything Vindication. Just saying hola from Jeff. Board Game Garden, smiley face, smiley face. Board Game Garden, how many copies of Catan have you bought at this point with the funds to get rid of it? Steve Owen, what do you think will happen with Mythic Games failure to deliver? Can backers recover their pledges? No. You're trying to squeeze... I mean, again, I encourage people to join whatever class action lawsuits they possibly can, but I think with Mythic, you're probably trying to squeeze blood from a stone. I don't think there's much you can really do there, unfortunately, so it sucks. The whole thing sucks, but, I mean, legally, I just don't know what the options realistically are. Rebecca, contracts in TOS can't change the law, but they can definitely make users think that they're waiving a right to contract that actually can't make you waive. Rebecca, I assume you're a lawyer in some way, shape, or form, because that was the best way that you... I mean, I was trying to say exactly that, but you said it so much more eloquently than I possibly could have. Yeah, 100%. Lisa McCarthy, favorite pirate theme game of the year? Dead Reckoning? Rum and Bones. Rum and Bones, easily. Rum and Bones is my favorite pirate theme game. Petrified, is the Gamefound app coming at the same rate that Devin's 16-hour live stream is? Petrified, that hurts, but also probably. So there's no actual timeline on the Gamefound app. The short conversation on the Gamefound app, and again, I don't, so lots of people take jobs with companies and then toe the company line. I tend to do first and ask later. I was very clear when I took the job with Gamefound that I don't plan on changing who I am. I love what I do, and this is my focus. Gamefound is a great job and a great opportunity that I really enjoy and I'm grateful for, and this is my focus. But that does mean I sometimes get into trouble in some ways. Like, so for right now, I don't know what I'm actually allowed to say in this conversation, but I'm going to say it, and we'll figure out the problems later. But effectively, Gamefound, since its inception, people have wanted an app. There have been a lot of reasons, a lot of very good reasons not to have an app. And they are very good reasons. First of all, Gamefound's constantly putting out new features. If they put out an app, suddenly they have to manage 2 different development cycles, which slows down the ability to grow the platform because you're now managing 2 different things. There are legal aspects, the European stuff, as far as the way Apple deals with certain aspects with app regulations right now, that's currently a sticking point. There are a lot of things that kind of are good reasons. The sheer amount of development time, you have to put that into the app development instead of other things. There's a lot of good reasons. The fact that the Kickstarter's app usage is not as high as people think it is, and Gamefound has a mobile-friendly website where we get tons of traffic. We get tons of traffic on the mobile site, so it's not limiting people in any way, shape, or form. So to us, the app is this big thing that a lot of people ask for, and there's not enough reason to really dive into it. But, and here's the but, it still is the single most requested feature. At the end of the day, it's still the single most requested feature we get from the audience. And I have been banging on the drum for a long time at Gamefound headquarters and whatnot, that we can't continue to say, hey, we're the platform that iterates and listens to our users and continues to put out new things while ignoring the single biggest request. And I understand all the reasons against it, but it is the single most requested thing. And they do agree. Ultimately, Gamefound as an entity agrees. It is in the pipeline. To answer your question, as far as the when I don't know. But it's officially, as of this year, it is officially in the pipeline as opposed to that thing we'll get to at some point. The when, I don't know. It might be in 2024. It might not. We'll see. But it is finally going to happen because, in my opinion, we can't continue to sell the idea that we are innovating if we're behind on a feature that is asked for, even if it is a vocal minority. Rebecca, oh wait, no, 1 second. Devin, Sure D, a couple days I found a download for the Gamefound app. It was through an advertisement Gamefound, so I was right, and it was a scam? So, I'm not sure. We do have, unless I'm missing things, we do have an app, hypothetically, but I just, to the best of my knowledge, it shouldn't be downloadable yet, but, I mean, let me just check for a second. Let me go ahead to, Gameplay, Play Store. I was under the impression that we don't yet have a Gamefound app available to the public, but I can't speak to what people have done behind my back. It's not on the App Store. I don't know. There is a working app out there, but I don't know what's going on with that. Okay. What do you think would happen with Mythic Games? No, I covered that. Gamefound app. Devin did a 16-hour live stream. It was just a share, though. I don't think that counts. Share D, we covered your question. Rebecca, yeah, I'm a paralegal, yes. Peter, what are your thoughts on Century Games? I've seen the big box, not sure it's worth it. I like the first Century game the most, the others not as much. Hello, by the way. Hello. Progressive Web App. Foreteller's even getting rid of the app. Foreteller's getting rid of the app? Oh, interesting. Yeah. So again, but here's the thing. There are many reasons why apps should and shouldn't exist. My main pitch was, it is the single most requested feature. Like, we shouldn't not have it. Although if we get it and get rid of it, that's a different story. Petrified, do you personally think that Gamefound app is necessary? No, I don't. I understand why people want it, and I would almost definitely use it, but it doesn't seem that necessary because the webpage is so good. Yeah, a majority of our traffic is from mobile, so we do have a lot of traffic on mobile. People are using it just fine, but there are still people that want the app. And there are notifications. That's a big thing. Like, there are enough notification reasons around the app that it might be worth it. That's the biggest reason I could possibly attribute to it, but it comes down to the app usage. Brian, the only match for an app would be push notifications. Exactly. That's exactly. Brian, you're exactly on top of the ball. Petrified, is Gamefound working on the ability to flip between updates similar to Kickstarter? Also, will the search be improved to search comments, updates, etc.? It seems mostly based off title instead of the body. I don't know. I have to look into it. Eric, I can't imagine why I want a Gamefound app over using the website. Some further feedback for you. Yeah, I get, again, I think Gamefound does not need an app. I just think that it's like, yeah, there's need versus trying to listen to your base as much as possible. Like, we put out payment methods. We sit there and implement payment methods that 0.03% of the world is using because it adds 0.03% of people to our user base effectively. So we should probably do an app where it's 10%. Successful. The main thing I think Gamefound needs at this point is the follow feature for users and creators for the social proof. That and the essential activity feed so I can see updates from all my campaigns. Successful Geek, you now can follow people. You can now follow people. That's a feature that's been around for 5-6 months, I want to say. Sydney, I would like to see a dashboard that can help backers evaluate the viability of the creators. Alex is right, Command is a lot more secure than the new creators, but help us see that visually with a KPI. That is a fascinating idea. I wonder if we could do something like that. Survey backers of prior campaigns and allow that feedback to be seen on a dashboard. That is a fascinating idea. I'm going to take notes on that. Cool, never noticed it. Web browser notifications as well. And it is now 2:03 and I've got to the end of questions, which means I am going to try to go ahead and go because I have so many things to do. Steve, all the people asking for a Gamefound app might change their minds if they knew about the opportunity cost of other features being delayed. Steve, we've tried talking about the opportunity cost and it hasn't changed the people who want the app. So, and the trickiest part, and this is almost a perception game, and it matters, but the trickiest part is the perception very often around the Gamefound app is almost like an eye rolling, like I can't believe they still don't have an app. And the problem with that is a relevant thing that Gamefound as an entity has to engage with that. You can't consider yourself the platform of the future if there are a certain segment of people who are eye-rolling around how you don't have an app. Not just wanting it, but being like, how could they not have that yet? And if it's 1%, that's one thing. But 10% is a large enough segment that you have to engage with it. And so here we are, engaging with it. Thank Alex. We'll be working on things today. Need to call at some point. Oh yeah, we need to call. Oh dear Lord, we need to call. I've been so bad. Just wait till Apple and Google try to take 30% from Kickstarter for having payments in their app. Dear Lord, that would be something else. All right, everyone, I appreciate all of you. We will be back next week, I think. I think there's a live stream next week. Next week, I think Thursday. I think currently the plan is for there to be another game show next Thursday is the technical plan. We'll see if that happens. But until next time, appreciate you all and have a good one.